Alright, hello guys, and welcome back. Today, I want to just quickly talk to you a little bit about the Snyderverse and what's possibly the next step for us. Everyone's been campaigning for the past few years to release the Snyder Cut, and some of us have been quiet but hopeful. Some of us have been just doing our part, be it a donation, be it a hashtag, be it a billboard, be it flying an airplane. Anything that's definitely not personal attacks and also threats and whatever, because we must always take note that any mistake that you make is all that's going to be the highlight, because at the end of the day, if the media ever wants to challenge you, they're only going to look for the wrong. You could do 100 good things, but one mistake is all they need to shut down all that 100 things. And unfortunately, the fandom as it was turned into a very large thing, and it was easy for them to nitpick out the faults in such a large fan base. And I mean, to be fair, yes, there were some people who did things that was, probably not the right way to protest. But for the majority of the fan base, I think the good outweighs the bad. And we can't let the media shut down the notion that the fan base is what actually fought for this director whose vision had been shut down. And because of this fan base, a lot of other directors now know that if they have an eye for art and if they build the right fan base, the studio or a company that looks solely on monetary figures will not be able to shut down art, because art is a very subjective thing, and sometimes it's not about the money you make but rather about the message that you send. And we can clearly see that from the Joker in The Dark Knight, where he says it's not about the money, it's about sending a message. And I think that's what people fail to understand, because despite Christopher Nolan's incredible film, of course he got it right. He did the formula right. And think if you think about it, his film did not manage to sell many toys to kids, because his version of the Batman was very serious, very realistic, and not so much like the cartoons that we see. However, it was something that many people could appreciate and learn to appreciate, and because of that, I mean, of course, Christopher Nolan is a genius, no doubt, right? So because of that, he was lucky to be on the good side of Warner Brothers. But if you think about it, after his trilogy ended, Warner Brothers realized that they need something to continue. To be more like Marvel, and they, of course, as you can probably tell, they must have had a board meeting where they were like, we gotta pump these numbers. These are rookie numbers, and Marvel's selling toys, they're selling all sorts of things. We gotta find a way to, do something about it. And they decided Zack is not going to be right for them. They want someone else. But if you think about it, Zack Snyder was the reason the DC EU actually expanded. He brought in a wonderful cast, as you can see in this photo I'm having, and the cast had already planned several new films in time to come. The Aquaman film was pretty successful by James Wan, despite it having more comedy and more of its own sort of film. It branched out a little bit, but still, I feel the casting and the um concept of it, as well the lore, all really worked out very well for James Wan, and I was really happy with the film as well. It's different. It is not true to the to Zack Snyder's version of the Aquaman. Regardless, it was a nice film to watch. The same goes for the first Wonder Woman film. I do not wish to comment on the second one. It was I really don't want to talk about it. The first one is pretty nice, and we were going to have a film by Batman and a film for Flash, and and meant by Batman, I supposed to say by Ben Affleck for the Batman, which would have been really amazing. And then we would have had one for the Flash, and the film for Cyborg was literally the Justice League film itself, which was tragically shut down. And I know a lot of you are upset about it, a lot of you are angry about it, and I think it's fair to say that we all have the right to be a little angry, because it seemed really odd that all the people of color was really cut out from the film. But I mean, if you think about it, the biggest thing that was cut out from the film was this guy. And we all know for a fact that initially Zack was not allowed to deliver Darkseid into the film. Hell, even Steppenwolf turned into some kind of kindergarten version of himself, right? He was humanized. He looked like something. I don't know. There's no words to describe that monstrosity that came out in 2017. But the monster we got in Zack Snyder's Justice League was gorgeous. Steppenwolf was beautiful. He looked like a transformer that was that was how can you put it, laminated in just pure awesomeness. Can I say that? Is that a thing? And then we get Warner Brothers coming out with a lot of other weird new statements, and I think that they should be a little bit careful with the way they're treating here, because they don't realize that people are a lot smarter now. And just like how V for Vendetta put it, the government should be afraid of the people. I think everyone should be afraid of the people, because the people are what consume your products, and they have the right to know if you're doing something that's wrong, in the sense we're shutting down people's art style and their creative work, which is actually getting them money, right? It's not like the Justice League didn't sell. I'm pretty sure when the numbers eventually come out, maybe in a week or two, HBO Max is going to announce that it's going to be off the charts. It's probably going to be one of the highest grossing DC films ever made. I do not think that it'll be able to top Marvel, considering a majority of the Marvel fan base are kids, and this film is R-rated, so most of them can't watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. So because of that, the audience is limited. Regardless, there's another factor, which is HBO Max. Once you subscribe to HBO Max, or in my case HBO Go, you can watch the film an unlimited number of times. It's not the same as it being released in cinema, where you gotta purchase different tickets to watch it again and again. So yeah, all those factors considered, I think it will still do well regardless, but it will not top the numbers of Endgame or Infinity War. No way, not yet, right? But if you think about it, how many of us thought we're gonna get this, right? I mean, this was like, when I saw this, I realized that Zack just went all out to just put this in, because he wants to tell us that you know this is what you guys wanted, and this is what I'm giving you. And don't take this wrong, in the sense where Zack is telling us that this is the end, because as you can see, the letters spell out END, end. This is the end, and what do you call this? They're shutting me down. Just take it in a nice way. The fact that he wanted this to be everything that he promised us, and it definitely was, and he's happy for it. And whatever the case may be, if Warner Brothers ever wants him back, they owe him. They owe him for releasing this film for free without getting paid. Putting in things that the fans wanted rather than what the studio wanted. He did them a favor by doing exactly what the fans wanted, thus increasing the fan base for HBO Max and Warner Brothers. And whether we may like it or not, this is still a Warner Brothers film, and they have the rights to the DC characters, and that's just unfortunately the case. And so he did them a big favor by putting all these things in. And if you checked out his recent interview, I think he mentioned that he was told by Warner Brothers not to have Darkseid or anything like that. And not to have any reshoots and anything like that, but he just went ahead and did it, and I really love that about him. And also, finally getting to see the new league on the big screen, it was just something really emotional. And the tone of this film, together with the darker colors, the low, the lack of colorization, really tells me that we've matured as not just the kids who read comics and watch these cartoons, but we start to appreciate things in a lot more, how can you put it, a deeper meaning per se. It's not about the colors that used to attract us anymore. Now it's more so about what's behind the characters, what's behind these simple things that we can see on screen. And now, despite, as you can see, the lack of colors, we know how much this film has given us. And I feel that some of these shots to me, especially with the black and white version coming out, I think we will appreciate it even more because you can really see how, even without colors, film can carry so much meaning. And I find it a little bit more meaningful that way because it's also a throwback to the fact that when we had black and white TV, which I mean, thankfully I was not a part of because I was too young for it. But when our parents or maybe our grandparents had black and white TV, I think it was very much about the content that was being put out, and not so much about the colors. Because back then, I mean, who cares about toys, right? People wanted to just sell their story, and that's what we got. And now we come back to this beautiful work of art, which shows you that it's not about the colors, the tone and the contrast and the cinematography. There are so many things that come into play, and you don't have to be like Marvel. But man, we got this scene right. I mean, this is gorgeous. The visuals, be it the colors, be it the meaning behind what Flash was trying to do, the dialogue from his father, and also the importance of how if Flash could not tap into the Speed Force and take this as his moment, the entire league would have died. And so, this scene, when I saw Flash run and just turn back time, man, this is by far the best speedster scene in any universe. Forget Quicksilver scenes, forget the old Flash, forget the what do you call this? The TV series Flash, and even the cartoons of Quicksilver, the cartoons of the Flash. I mean, we've seen it all, but despite everything we have seen, Zack delivered us something totally new, and my God, was it incredible! It was something that, like, we would not have thought that this was possible. Like who would have pictured this, right? And it carries so much meaning, of course, because Barry Allen's father had told him, you gotta take, you gotta snatch the moment. The future is now. You gotta make your own future. You gotta make your own past, and that's exactly what he does. And man, he saved the entire league and the world as a whole in that one moment. And it really shows you the growth of Flash throughout this film. The same goes for Cyborg too. Cyborg grows as well, and Ray Fisher. I mean, he is Cyborg. Ray Fisher is Cyborg, and he is definitely Justice League material because, as you can see from his recent tweets and stuff, he's not giving up on his what do you call this? What is the term he uses? There's a particular term. It's not coming to my mind right now. But yeah, he's fighting hard against Warner Brothers, and we should keep an eye on him. Not be distracted by all the other news that they're releasing, just to distract us, so that they can eventually shut us and keep us quiet, because that's what media is there for. Media is meant to brainwash people, and I mean, we've seen that. And I mean, I took this shot from a wallpapers and artworks. I'm not sure if they were the ones who actually drew this. I'm pretty sure there's an artist, but I couldn't find the name designated when I saw the photo. Regardless, whoever the artist is, credits to you. This is an amazing work of art. And I mean, Superman is extra thick here, that's for sure. And Lois seems to be in one piece. But as we saw in the movie, she was not anywhere having any hair or skin. All that was left was some bones and burnt to a crisp by what is most likely Omega beams, and Superman was clearly not having it. So this was what we were getting from Zack Snyder, and without him, We will never get this. There's no one else who dares to take these steps, who dares to kill off Superman, bring him back in the black suit. Tell Warner Brothers they're not gonna put in Darkseid, but do it anyway. Tell them that they're not gonna make Steppenwolf scary, but do it anyway. Tell them that they're gonna want to have Cyborg and Flash have their stories fully fleshed out in a 4 hour film. And I know it was still cut down. I know he still had to compromise to get it down to 4 hours. Regardless, we got the product we wanted. He gave it all out, and despite the shots that he had to borrow from other films, despite the reshoots he had to make with the Joker just to satisfy us, think about it. This guy did that all for free, right? Zack Snyder did all of that for free for us because he just wanted to thank us for the support that we have showed. There's no one else in the world who has done that, and I don't think anyone else will in a long, long time to come. And whoever that person who does is someday, well, we'll see. We'll see. And of course, I have had this poster before, which I made, and I just wanted to bring it up again to show everyone that there's a place for everyone in the world. Be it bright colored characters, be it a speedster that gets introduced and dies in a single film, be it the X-Men who will probably never join the MCU anytime soon because there's just too many characters, and they probably sell better by themselves. Regardless of who you are, whether you're the Watchman, whether you're Deadpool, whether you're the Silver Surfer, whatever it is, there's a place for everyone in the world, and we have to remember that. And I believe, just like how I've showed about comics, just as how every director has the right to, or rather, every author has the right to represent their own creativity in their own comic. I feel film directors should be given more creative freedom and allowed to depict their own stories and not be limited by what the studio wants solely for the purpose of money. Because you are not selecting directors that you don't know. Most of them are established, most of them are trusted, and most of them, have clearly made um, quite a name for themselves. So when you promise them we're gonna allow you to do these films, let them just do it. You know, if you tell them we only want you to do one film and then stop there, fine. They will do exactly what you tell them to, but don't cut them off. Bring in an idiot to continue it and destroy it, and expect people to keep quiet about it. And then also the controversy about the cutting off people of color and all that. I felt it's just so shady, right? It's just so shady. And so I finally wanted to bring in this up to you guys. I know this article was published almost a week ago, and I haven't had the time to go through it. And I feel it's time I just get this over with before I forget. So the thing is that we get this article from Vanity Fair, and I really like this because Zack really went all out in his interview with Vanity Fair, and I'll just go through the key points here. Zack said when I made the film originally, it was part of a five-part trilogy, so it was already promised to him probably when he discussed this with Warner Brothers that he wants to make a five-part trilogy. And I don't think you call it a trilogy. I think you just call it a five-part saga. Regardless, it's a five-film arc, which is what he wanted to do. There were two more episodes of Justice League to be shot, which is what he said. However, something happened, right? So he wants to go all the way to the entire pantheon to the new Batman after Batman dies. That is what his idea was, and of course, Batman does what. So there are a lot of spoilers beyond this. If you guys have not read this article and you don't wish to know about it, this is when you gotta go. But I think most of you know what's going on, right? So I'm just gonna continue. So they didn't want me to suggest more films to come. They wanted me to cul-de-sac it as much as I could, and I felt this was really weird. I mean, look, that's not the genre. It's not a comic book genre to end the story, regardless if we ever make another one or not. And I agree with him. Just like how the MCU always leaves room for a possible future, even though they have phase one, phase two, phase three, they end the phases and they come to the next one. And this is one thing I really like about Kevin Feige. Despite him liking to stretch things out for the sake of just selling tickets, he has an idea. He knows what he wants to do and how he wants to stretch the films, how he wants to make more money. Regardless, whatever it is, the planning of continuation is something I appreciate. And the reason I like that is if you look at a lot of other films, like Disney cartoons and whatever, the continuation never really goes well, right? I think Toy Story was one of the few films that actually has good sequels, but most of the other cartoons don't really have good sequels. Most of them have a very good first film, and the rest of it is just crap. Honestly, I don't think there's that many that actually do it well. But comic book stories are different. Why so? Because comics have no end. If you read comics, you know that not many people even know what's canon, right? Canon is such a subjective thing. You only know what's canon when some big guy shows up and tells you that, oh, I'm the head of Warner Brothers. This is canon. This is not, and everyone goes like, oh. But hey, think about it this way, right? Warner Brothers right now is telling you that Joss Whedon's cut is canon. Are you going to accept that? Are you going to say that no, Joss Whedon's cut is canon, Zack Snyder's one is not? The boob jokes are canon, the stupid Flash is canon, Cyborg having no story is canon, right? There's no reason for the mother boxes to awake is canon, Steppenwolf looking like a piece of shit is canon. Are you going to accept that? The same way we wouldn't like that is the same way comic books are as well. Let me just tell you that, right? Sometimes certain things that the comic book authors declare canon is not something the general population would accept, and that's quite true. Some people say the Superman is weak to magic is canon, but some others, can say no. Superman's not weak to magic. He just doesn't have, resistance to it. He gets hurt by magic the same as getting hurt by a punch. It's not like he's weak to it in any way. He gets hit, sure, but magic is just so powerful, so he feels it. But a weakness to magic is something like a weakness to kryptonite, and it's not the same. He's not weak to magic. So there's so many things that people say is canon that others say is not. So quite frankly, you know, let people just have their own vision. You can support whichever you like. You can argue about whichever you like, and that's what makes the entire superhero law so impressive, right? There's always a story to tell. It never ends. So anyway, this decimated future shows what will happen if Darkseid forces are victorious in conquering Earth. Indeed, they come for something known as the anti-life equation, a mystical formula. Basically, Darkseid is an evil mathematician, right? Just put it that way. He's an evil guy who's a maths professor or something like that. And yes, in BBS, we did see the dream sequence where the Flash comes and says, Bruce, listen to me, it's Lewis is the key. Am I too soon? Oh, I'm too soon. You get that. And then Zack emphasizes what Flash says, which is a spoiler if you didn't watch the film already, which is when I approach the speed of light, crazy things happen to time. So we clearly eventually find out that he has the ability to turn back time, as is what he does to save, the entire world, which is insanely good. Also, we do see yes him murdering the Aquaman as well as I believe Valko, and we see Superman grieving over the corpse of what's most likely Lois. And yes, he did intend to. There's one line that says that he did intend to have a Green Lantern, a human Green Lantern at the end. I'll get to it probably soon enough. So at the very end, Harry Lennox appears. There we go. Appears as an alien observer known as Martian Manhunter. He congratulates Batman. We shot this version of the scene with Green Lantern, but the studio really fought me and said we don't want to do Green Lantern. So Snyder changed it to Martian Manhunter. Why Manhunter? Because Snyder said in his recent interview that the visual that he created glows green, right? And who else could he replace a green visual with from Green Lantern? So he had to put Martian Manhunter in there. Otherwise, Martian Manhunter would pretty much have been quite hidden until a foreseeable future, and then we would have instead got the introduction of Green Lantern, making it such that we would have seen every member of the original Justice League in the or rather the canon Justice League in the film, right? We would have seen Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Superman, Flash, Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Cyborg. And yeah, that would have made it the entire team, which would have been really, really awesome. So he says, then they asked which Green Lantern. He said it would have been John Stewart. And I'm really curious now on who the Lantern, is or would have been, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to find that out soon enough. So the Warner Brothers said that we have plans for John Stewart. We want to do our own announcement. So Snyder stepped back and compromised with Martian Manhunter, and I think he was fine with that compromise because he did compromise in a lot of other ways, which included a lot of scenes with Darkseid, as well as a lot of other important scenes that would have twisted the story otherwise. Especially, I think the death of Lois, probably that was completely something that he just added anyway and told them you got to deal with it, and I like that. So yeah, so we have a little bit talk about the last nightmare sequence, which I mean, of course, we all saw, and I believe there is another version of this because it says here. No, wait, is it here? Regardless, he said that in the black and white version, we may get to see the "We live in a society" line, as well as an alternate ending sequence, just showing you the possibilities of the alternate timelines. And I really like that. I hope it's not the entire film that has alternate sequences. Maybe it has added scenes, but if the ending has an alternate ending, that's totally believable because hey, it's the multiverse. Anything could happen. Also, we have a group of gods together, get my job done. Okay, Bruce basically will sacrifice himself in the end, uh, in some way, and then he dies. And this is what's really creepy for me, right? What's really creepy is that this was the plot. This plot came out way before Avengers Endgame, right? But we saw this plot in Avengers Endgame. We saw the plot where the team goes back in time to save the world, and then it ends with, the leader of the Avengers, Iron Man. Similarly, here, the leader of the Justice League is Batman, and Batman sacrifices himself the same way Iron Man sacrificed himself. So I feel that there's something else going on here, and it's really creepy now that I think about it. And there's so many videos out there about the similarities between Zack Snyder's films and the Avengers films, and how a lot of the Avengers films have copied what Zack Snyder did. And this is especially true for the Trinity. The Trinity shot of Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman versus Doomsday is very much similar to the shot of Iron Man, Cap, and Thor versus Thanos. And you also have Lois crying for the death of Superman, similar to how what do you call this? Pepper Potts cries for the death of Iron Man, and it's so similar that I feel that there's something really creepy going on in the background here. Anyway, let before I get into more speculation, right? Uh, Basically, Zack's story ends with a new Batman Rising, which is Lois's son with Superman will be the new Batman. And I found this a good way, a really beautiful story, and it's a really nice concept. And man, this is definitely our Superman, right? So I'll leave a link to the Vanity Fair article for you guys if you guys want to look more into it. And I really hope that someday we will be able to see what was truly intended. Now, for just a quick little speculation about something really creepy to think about is that what if there was an insider in Warner Brothers that took Zack Snyder's plot and used it for the Avengers film? I know, I know, I know. Yes, I hear you. But what if? What if Joss Whedon, of course, is definitely one of the insiders because he's part of Marvel, but besides Joss Whedon there could have been so many others, but Joss Whedon mainly is possible because he really ruined the film. He wanted to make sure it never continues, but the ideas that was designed by Zack for the 5 film arc were already there since Man of Steel, right? Of course, he added and removed and built a few different things, but Whedon would have gotten a hold of this entire plot. He would know how the entire plot ends. And right after, Whedon changes the film, destroys, any possible continuity. Zack Snyder is kicked out. We get Avengers Endgame, and the plot is very much similar to BVS. WandaVision's ending fight is similar to Man of Steel. And even the sacrificial scene is of course similar to BVS, but also reminiscent of the way Zack puts it, such that Batman is going to sacrifice himself for the greater good, and we do get to see that. So I don't know, something really creepy is going on, something really really scary in the background. Probably I don't really want to point it out, like make it seem like a huge controversy or anything like that. But hey, you know, once coincidence, twice I don't know. Twice coincidence, thrice. Hmm, makes you think, huh? Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that there is someone else up there pulling the strings, trying to make money on both sides of the coin. Because as we all know from history, the one who makes the most money in war is not the one who wins it or loses, but the one who sells the weapons to both sides. And this is true even today. We do know some of them who are like a middleman or rather a double agent. And I do believe that in time to come, these controversies will see the light of day. And maybe you can pay me a visit when that happens. I'll see you guys. Take care. And I should start practicing to run like Flash just in case things go to shit for me. Adios, guys.